What it do, y'all? As you come in on this live, please share this live on your timeline. What it do? As you come in, as I always do, I'm gonna let people come into the feed. As you come into the feed, please share this live, man. I'm just gonna chop it up with y'all real quick on current news on the situation that's going on right now in South Africa. So as you come on this live, please share this live. Shout out to all my African people worldwide. Shout out to Biafra. You feel me? Shout out to the Sudan. Shout out to Puerto Rico. Shout out to Amazonia. You know, shout out to all the Africans that's trying to liberate themselves in the world right now. Shout out to New Africa, of course. Shout out to the Provisional Government Republic of New Africa. Yeah, man. Shout out to all my Biafran people, man. As you come on this live, please share this live. We're gonna chop it up real quick. You feel me? I might even bring some people into this live. I don't know how long I'm gonna be on here. Try to be on here for like a little bit, because I want to talk about this current thing that's going on in South Africa. I don't know how many people know what's going on in South Africa right now, but it's an issue that's been going on in South Africa for like the last couple of years, called xenophobia, is what they call it. You feel me? But at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying, the reason why I wanted to do this live real quick is to, this is another example. You see what I'm saying? This is an extension of another example why capitalism and imperialism and its effects, you see what I'm saying? Because it has the cause is imperialism and capitalism, you see what I'm saying? But what does the effects from that? You see what I'm saying? And what you see today going on in South Africa are effects from that cause. See, the reason why I'm doing this live, because a lot of people are going to look at it from across the globe, or European media is just going to try to paint the picture that these are just some, how can I put it? These are just black people killing black people because they are savages and they are at the bottom of the toll. You feel me? Like they're not civilized people. So I wanted to do this live to make sure to, combat that, because we know how European news do. Well, some of the European media don't even report this type of stuff, like CNN, you know what I'm saying? But then you got like the BBC and all those type of European networks, or those type of networks who don't tell the truth on what's going on. Now, let me just bring you up to what's going on. If you haven't been paying attention to the news the last couple of days, specifically yesterday, but I'm going to say the whole week, last week up until today. If you haven't been watching the news, this is something that happened a couple of years ago also, that was going on in South Africa, which is called, xenophobia, where, you have Africans from different parts of Africa, and specifically these Africans are from, Nigeria. You feel me? I don't even like to really use that word, but they from Nigeria. Specifically, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in there. Igbo people. You feel me? Because it seems like everywhere Igbo people go, Igbo people are getting murdered. You feel me? Like this is the reality that's going on in Africa. Like if you're not really paying attention to this, you know what I'm saying? It seems like everywhere Igbo people go, Igbo people are being attacked, murdered, genocided. And South Africa is no difference. But, you can go ahead and throw another couple of ethnic groups in there that's probably from Nigeria. That's also, because from what the stats say, it's over 800,000 Africans from Nigeria that's living in South Africa. As, what's going on in America with the immigration is, immigrants. They migrated to South Africa to try to seek a better life and for work. You feel me? So, a couple of years ago, if you wasn't paying attention, a couple of years ago, South Africans, you know what I'm saying, black South Africans, started attacking different Africans, ethnic groups from different parts of Africa that now reside in South Africa. If you don't know what xenophobia is and what's going on in South Africa. And what they're saying the cause of this is that the African migrants that are moving to South Africa are taking all the black Africans' jobs. This is what they quote unquote are reporting, that African migrants from every part of Africa that's moving to South Africa is taking the indigenous South Africans' jobs in South Africa. So the South Africans are getting mad and they are killing different Africans and migrants in South Africa, specifically ethnic groups from Nigeria. If you haven't been paying attention to the news the last couple of days, South Africans have been setting on fire different ethnic groups from Nigeria that now live in South Africa, because they're saying that these people are taking their jobs. They're labeling migrants, different African migrants. These black South Africans are trying to paint the picture that these Africans are criminals, and they're just coming to South Africa, looting, getting involved in crime and all these things of this nature. You feel me? Which is propaganda. So let's go ahead and put that out there. It's propaganda. So yeah, if you haven't been paying attention to the news the last couple of days, man, it's sad. Like, it's really sad, man. Like, they're actually setting ethnic groups from Nigeria on fire. You know what I'm saying? And this goes back to why I'm really doing this live, is that, you feel me? We all know Nigeria and South Africa are the superpowers in Africa, on the continent. Industrialization-wise, industry-wise, Nigeria, South Africa are the superpowers on the continent when it comes to industry, industrialization, and economies. You feel me? But at the end of the day, we know why Nigeria is a superpower, which is why I'm gonna make this connection of this whole topic and my concerns on what's going on the continent, is that we know Nigeria is a British construct. We know Nigeria is being ran by the imperialist country of Britain, which is a superpower in the world under the European alliance. You feel me? Invaders, you feel me, of Africa, Britain, British. You feel me? So Nigeria is only a superpower because of Britain. Let's just put that there. Besides the resources. And it goes back to the resources. It's all about the land and the resources. You feel me? So the Nigerian government, which is ran by the puppet Muhammad Buhari, who really don't care that ethnic groups from Nigeria are being murdered in South Africa. You feel me? He don't care. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, is that when you have neo-colonialist government set up under British imperialism and European imperialism, you feel me? This is what made Nigeria a superpower. This is what made South Africa a superpower. Because remember, we could take this back to, apartheid. When the Europeans invaded South Africa and took over South Africa, and now is controlling the resources in South Africa. And this is the reason why the liberation movements in South Africa are trying to push the Europeans out of South Africa. You know what I'm saying? Taking back their land, expelling white farmers off the land. You see what I'm saying? So this brings me to my whole point of xenophobia, is the fact that, brothers and sisters, this is European and Chinese imperialism that is causing South Africans to murder and attack Africans from different parts of Africa, specifically Nigeria. You feel me? Like this now, as Julius Malema stated earlier. If you don't know who Julius Malema is, you know he's a freedom fighter in South Africa. So I agree with what Julius Malema stated earlier in his response to this xenophobia thing, is the fact that we have to understand that there's self-hate there. So we're not gonna let black people off the hook in totality for the fact that we know that European colonialism on the continent, which has taken place rampant all across the world where black people live and where black people have been conquered, you feel me, is that this indoctrination of self-hate. Let me say that again. This indoctrination of self-hate through colonialism on the continent of Africa, yes, that does exist amongst certain ethnic groups in Africa. We do and this, you know, even black people in America, because I'm connected to the black people in America also, is that yes, we all suffer from a little bit of self-hate. You see what I'm saying? Because, okay, we all may be the same color. We all black. You feel me? We may be all black, but there were issues that has always been amongst certain tribal nations of people in Africa. Everybody don't get along, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's just put that out there. Everybody that's black don't get along. It's sad. It's sad. You feel me? Because it should be black power to black people, period. You feel me? No matter where you from on the continent of Africa, or no matter where you from in the African diaspora, or in the United States of America, or wherever black African people are globally. It shouldn't be like that, but we also have to understand our historical material realm is that when we're dealing with proximity of black people or any ethnic group of people, if you live in a proximity and you live close to certain ethnic groups that you're not a part of, yes, there's always going to be confrontations. There's always going to be disagreements amongst those different ethnic groups. Just like Igbo and Yoruba. I know you know about the Yoruba and Igbo, which is, you know what I'm saying, some historical, you feel me? Some historical bad past. You feel me? I'm going to just put it like that. Yoruba and Igbo people have a historical bad past relationship-wise. They have been, you know, in confrontation for decades, in centuries. You feel me? So, but at the same time, certain Igbo, certain Yoruba do get along. You feel me? Just like in America, you know, we got black people that some of us get along, some of us don't get along. You feel me? That's just the natural reality of proximity. Living in proximity with other black people, just like other ethnic groups in proximity. Certain people are just not going to get along. You feel me? I hate to say that, you're just not going to get along. So yes, we can hold xenophobia, xenophobia to a certain degree that yes, there is a little self-hate there between South Africans and other African groups that have now migrated to South Africa. Yes, that exists. But we have to all understand the big picture of this material oppression, this material objective world and the oppression, and how this oppression is being facilitated by European and Chinese imperialism. Capitalism. This is why we keep trying to tell people that capitalism could never be the answer for no African people nowhere on this planet. Capitalism doesn't work. Now, I hate to see these type of things happening in Africa, but this is more evidence what's going on in South Africa, that capitalism and imperialism coming from external forces, which is Europeans and Chinese industries, are causing death, poverty, and genocide on the continent of Africa. This is facts, man. Because at the end of the day, when you dissect it, because we always got to dissect this shit scientifically. When you dissect it, what is going to be the origin of why this xenophobia is going on? It's because of European industries. It's because of Chinese industries. You feel me? Because at the end of the day, and let me go ahead and throw this in there, Zimbabweans are also being murdered in South Africa. You feel me? I don't want to leave them out. Zimbabweans and certain ethnic groups, specifically Igbo people from Nigeria, are being murdered in South Africa because South Africans are saying they're coming there and they're taking their jobs. Hold the brakes on that for a second. Hold the brakes on that for a second. This is what these brothers and sisters have to understand, and even Africans in the diaspora, is that the majority of the jobs in South Africa, and even in Nigeria right now, the main industries that are employing these people, you see what I'm saying? Or just bringing jobs and bringing industries to these two superpower countries, Nigeria and South Africa, is mainly European corporations, Chinese corporations. And a lot of people like to leave the Chinese off the hook. No, Chinese are all in East Africa. The Chinese is all in South Africa. The Chinese is all in Nigeria, treating black people like lower class trash. Facts. Pure facts. This is what's going on. So now, so people can understand the xenophobia in South Africa. This is what white supremacy, capitalism, European imperialism, or any foreign imperialism, this is what it does, people. It divides black people. It puts black people against black people. It puts poor class of people against poor class of people to fight for scraps. You see what I'm saying? This is why capitalism doesn't work. This is why imperialism doesn't work. The evidence is all over the planet. So it shouldn't even be no debate on whether should we support capitalism. You see what I'm saying? Because capitalism is nothing but a conquering system that puts the lower class people, black people specifically, in Africa against each other. This is facts, man. There's no way brothers and sisters in South Africa should be fighting and killing each other over something that the Chinese and the Europeans are doing to make y'all turn inward against each other. You see what I'm saying? Now, this is what's going on in America. Like all my Biafran people, all my African people that's watching this live right now, you're probably always wondering, why is black people in America killing each other? It's the same thing that's going on in South Africa right now with xenophobia. You see what I'm saying? It's just all put in fancy words, but it's all the same oppression, but it's an illusion, and it's drawn out and it's act out differently because we live in different continents. You see what I'm saying? But it's all the same thing. They got black people in America killing each other because we're at the bottom of the class in America. You see what I'm saying? We're at the bottom of the class in America. So we're killing each other over the same thing those brothers and sisters in South Africa are killing each other over. You see what I'm saying? Jobs, housing, clothing, trying to feed our families, trying to get out of poverty. You feel me? This is why black people in America also kill each other, my brothers and sisters. Over the same thing, South Africans are killing Zimbabweans, Igbo people, and other ethnic groups from Nigeria in South Africa over what the Europeans, specifically in Africa, and the Chinese is doing industrialized-wise. You feel me? So they're hiring, the Chinese and the Europeans are hiring who they want to hire. And they're giving certain groups more pay than the other ethnic group. So now that makes the other ethnic groups from Africa hate the one group of Africans that is making more money than them, that's getting all the jobs. You see what I'm saying? So now this is why you see South Africans running around in the streets of South Africa and setting Igbo, Nigerian ethnic groups on fire. They done set several brothers and sisters on fire, man. Because they really think that ethnic groups from Nigeria are taking their jobs. You see what I'm saying? It's all about the businesses. They think Nigerians are coming to South Africa and taking what's theirs. You see what I'm saying? Which, I mean, I can understand that to a certain degree. I can understand that to a certain degree. That goes with the proximity mentality. You see what I'm saying? It's like, you don't want, you know, they paint this picture to make us, you know, we all African. We all come from the African continent. But they paint this picture to, you know, where they play off it. European supremacy and Chinese supremacy play off of, you know, proximity colonialism. You feel me? Because they already know that these groups are not going to get along. So for instance, if all these Africans from different parts of Africa are coming to Africa, coming to South Africa, I like to call it Azania, because that's what it was at first. It wasn't called South Africa. The indigenous name of South Africa is, you know, Azania. You see what I'm saying? So all these Africans coming to South Africa to try to find a better life, to get better jobs, those imperialist industries are playing off of that, man. You see what I'm saying? Like, how can you subjugate different ethnic groups, hire certain ethnic groups, pay them a certain amount, you feel me, than the other ethnic group, and you think that's not going to cause friction? That's not going to cause violence? That's going to cause violence, man. Just like what's going on in the American streets of America, in every black ghetto and community in America. That's what's causing the violence here. It's all capitalism, people. It's all imperialism. That's just facts. And I'm going to go back to a certain point. This is the biggest thing that you got to understand. This is the biggest point you got. And Julius Malema made this point earlier. This is the biggest point you got to understand. And this is specifically for the South Africans who are attacking our brothers and sisters and murdering our brothers and sisters, different ethnic groups from Zimbabwe and Nigeria. This is the thing here, is that we are so oppressed, and this goes for Africans all over the world. We are so oppressed to the point mentally that we would kill each other, point the finger at each other's for our oppression, for our poverty. You see what I'm saying? For our not having jobs, things of that nature. We will point the fingers at each other, but we won't approach the cause of all this. We won't approach the oppressors. Just like Julius Malema stated, it's like, why are South Africans killing your African brothers and sisters that migrated to South Africa? Why are you killing them? Why aren't you killing the white man? Why aren't you killing the Chinese man? These are the people that are causing y'all to kill each other and attack each other. So why aren't South Africans attacking the Europeans? Why aren't they attacking the Chinese who are exploiting your people? And also exploiting the migrants from different parts of Africa, man. See, this is the whole thing when it comes to imperialism and capitalism. It brainwashes us. It oppresses us so much that we turn on each other, but we don't attack the source. We don't attack the source of our oppression. Same thing that goes on here in America. We point the finger at each black person here in America and try to point the finger at each other, saying that we are the reason we are oppressed, but we're not attacking the oppressor, which is the United States government. That's causing your poverty in your community, which is causing the conditions in your community because they don't place value on the workers. You see what I'm saying? They don't place value on workers. This is why this is economic slavery, people. It's economic slavery. It's no longer chattel slavery to the point that we're in chains and working for free on plantations. No, it's an economic system of slavery. You see what I'm saying? Because they treat workers like shit. Facts. And it's funny because it's Labor Day here in America. It's Labor Day here in America. But in South Africa, as you can see, it's a massacre going on in South Africa based off of labor. So what's the coincidence of that? It's Labor Day in America, where they're supposed to salute all the working class people here in America for working hard every day here in North America. You feel me? But they work my people for 400 years for free. But they turned it into a holiday. See how capitalism works? See how evil capitalism is? That they can make a holiday called Labor Day in America. They work black African people in America for 400 years for free. No pay. Generational wealth lost. We lost 400 years of generational wealth and land. Gone. Worked our ancestors for free. Now go to South Africa. Look at what's going on in South Africa. They're killing each other over jobs, labor. See, this is why I have to express this every time I make videos or I do lives, is that and I'm not talking about everybody because I know a lot of our people are educated, politically educated. I know my Biafran freedom fighters are politically educated. But most people, most black people across the world, you have to get politically educated so you can understand what's going on in the world, historically, materially. You must get politically educated to understand your oppression. So you will not be fooled by European CIA media. You feel me? Which post lies. You see what I'm saying? Just like what's going on in South Africa, they're gonna portray what's going on in South Africa as some ignorant black people just murdering each other for nothing. And I'm warning you that. I'm warning y'all right now. That's how they're going to portray it in the media. Savages of South Africa and savages of Nigeria and Zimbabwe are murdering each other over crumbs. You see what I'm saying? Or murdering each other because they're criminals. See, anything that's black, Europeans and Chinese try to paint as criminals. They want to make all black people savages and criminals. And so when we go out in the streets, brothers and sisters, when we go out in the streets and murder each other, set each other on fire, kill each other every day over these crumbs these Europeans and these Chinese are giving us, that's what we making ourselves look like. Savages, criminals, just murdering each other. Why? Because we are not politically educated. The majority of the people that are doing these things are not politically educated. And I understand survival. Because when your survival instincts kick in, you know nothing else but survival. I understand that. But we're in 2019, where everything has to be played mentally. It shouldn't be reactionary. Everything that's going on in the world right now is straight reactionary because it's not thought out. Because a lot of us are not politically educated. That's what it boils down to, man. Because if we was politically educated, right, and historically educated, then we will understand our reality that this white man and this Chinese man who has brought these industries onto the continent of Africa are here to exploit our people, black people. Man, do away with the ethnic groups when it comes to totality of Pan-Africanism. Do away with the titles. Yeah, we know you Igbo. We know you Igbo. We know you Yoruba. We know you ethnic groups of Zimbabwe. We know you an ethnic group of South Africa. But no, we need to sit down, and brothers and sisters, and understand, hold on. Something ain't right. This white man and this Chinese is exploiting us. Why are we killing each other and we're not killing their ass when they in our continent, on our land, setting up industries and paying us slave money? They're not paying y'all the money that you're worth for your labor. That's capitalism. You're not getting paid for what you're worth. That's capitalism. You see what I'm saying? Anytime you go to work and you cannot sustain yourself and self-preserve your family, you're not making enough money to even live on your own, to take care of your family, that's capitalism, people. That's a system that Europeans put in place to exploit poor people, period. And it just happens to be because we're the dominant people on the planet. People of color are the dominant people on the planet. The European is exploiting every colored people on this planet. This is why I hate to see shit like that's going on in South Africa. I hate to see it, man. I hate to see brothers and sisters murder each other, man. You know what I'm saying? You might not be from the same ethnic group. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us don't look at our skin color and see us as brothers and sisters, but every other ethnic group on this planet see it that way, man. The Chinese see it that way, even though they oppress their own also. You know what I mean? Asians oppress their own kind. Europeans oppress their own kind. You feel me? That's the way of the world because of the systems that are in place. It's the systems, people. You see what I'm saying? Capitalism is an economic system. Along with imperialism and neocolonialism, all these things go hand in hand. There's no separation when we're dealing with politics, man. You have to understand the economic systems, period. You have to understand economic systems. If you don't understand economic systems, you cannot understand your own oppression. You have to understand economic systems, period. Economic systems. If you don't know what economic systems in the world, right now, there are really only two economic systems in the world, which is capitalism and socialism, to be honest with you. And then you have other systems that are in place that's, not really developed. They're not really developed systems. But the main system of the world is capitalism. And that's just pure facts. Capitalism. So that's why I hate to see what's going on in South Africa with xenophobia, which is some kind of term that they came up with, which means that foreigners are coming into indigenous people's lands, taking their jobs, murdering the people, conquering the people, and taking them out of their land, running them out their land. We're trying to run them out their land. So this is what the South Africans are trying to do. They're trying to run the Zimbabweans and other African immigrant groups out of South Africa because they feel like they're taking their jobs. You feel me? Which is sad. Very sad. Oh, yeah, I'm looking at... I see y'all. I see all y'all commenting. I see y'all commenting. Let me see. Greetings, brother. Greetings. Greetings to all my brothers and sisters that's tuned in. Let me scroll up, see who up on here. I see y'all. Exactly. Let me read the comments real quick so I can see what's going on. This brother said Buhari is not saying anything because he a hard meeting with South African president before because Fulanis don't hate cows, they're so to keep them calm. Okay, yeah, I feel you on that. Yeah, exactly. Buhari. I was absolutely saddened about South Africa actions against their fellow blacks. Exactly. It's sad. South Africans will soon be attacked by Europeans. We will watch how they will manage. Exactly. That's coming because at the end of the day, we know South Africa, you know what I'm saying, the Europeans in South Africa are going to start to try to attack those people as well. Asians must feel the hill. The black man refused to know that our ancestors civilized this world. Exactly. I'm just reading the comments, all y'all. It's very stupid of South Africans. I guess they are lacking information because oil money was used in rescuing them from apartheid. Exactly. Exactly, brother. Exactly. South Africa, xenophobia attack against Igbos and other Africans in Nigeria. Igbos suffered xenophobia attack is even worse than South Africa right now. Angola and Ghana are doing the same because politicians have failed woefully. Facts. That's what I'm saying. This is going on all on the continent, people. This ain't just going on in South Africa. South African companies are making billions of dollars daily in Nigeria. Exactly. This is not just going on in South Africa. It's going on in Nigeria also. I'm glad you brought that up because South Africans have companies in Nigeria. I'm glad you brought that up. It's pathetic, brother. But we must fight this mess together. Africa is in a big mess. This aren't stupidity. Preach on, brother. Exactly. My brother, pure to a lot of black people lack wisdom. Why should we kill each other but lead the people that put us in the problem? Exactly, brother. See, the system has damaged us so mentally. We've been so mentally enslaved by these Europeans, man, that we do not see ourselves attacking the root of why we are in the state that we are globally. Not even just Africa. The black people all across the globe, even in the African diaspora, we do not see we don't have the mentality to understand that, you know what I'm saying, that this is the people that are causing that problem. They're causing the issues. Exactly. Nigeria got sanctioned by the UN because the Nigerian government was arming the ANC fighting against apartheid. Yes, I remember that. I definitely remember that. I love you too, bro. I'm sure the South Africans, they will suffer. I mean, hey, the karma you put out is what you're going to get back. That's all I can say about that. The karma you put out is what you're going to get back. But we shouldn't look at it like that in that way neither, bro, because at the end of the day, the South Africans are being manipulated just like they're going out in the streets and they're setting Nigerians on fire, different ethnic groups on fire from Nigeria. They don't really understand what they're doing. They're just being reactionaries because they're brainwashed. They're enslaved economically and materially. You feel me? So they're just looking at any Africans that's coming from any part of Africa as people who are coming to take their jobs. And their jobs is not much. See, this is what we got to understand. The Chinese industries and the Nigerian industries are not even Nigerian industries. The European industries and the Chinese industries, when they put these companies in South Africa and they put these companies in Nigeria, wherever they at, even in East Africa, because we see Chinese moving in at high levels in East Africa and is exploiting East Africans and South Africans. So this is the thing you got to understand is that this is when they bring those industries in those lands, their intentions is to colonize the resources, to control the resources, but at the same time, they're bringing in their own people to give jobs to their own people. So the like the Chinese, for instance, when the Chinese set up industries in South Africa and every part of Africa, they're bringing their own workers with them also. So the little jobs that are left over, the people who actually live in the vicinity, like the indigenous South Africans or the African immigrants that moved to South Africa to try to get better jobs and things of that nature, they're fighting over the leftover jobs. You see what I'm saying? Because the Chinese and the European industries are already bringing their own workers into Africa. That's colonization, people. That's colonialism. This is what they did in the 1800s when they had the Conference of Berlin. Do your research on the Conference of Berlin. If you don't know what the Conference of Berlin is, this is when the European nations like France, Germany, who else? Just European nations and European countries. They invaded Africa. And when they invaded Africa in the 1800s, I believe it's like the late 1800s, they invaded Africa to carve up Africa into colonies. You see what I'm saying? Because before most countries in Africa got their names, they were colonies of European countries. Like Nigeria. Nigeria was a British colony. You see what I'm saying? South Africa was a European colony. So in order for them to keep grips on those resources and to maintain their dominance and economic conquering, they had to modernize. They had to modernize their colonialism. You see what I'm saying? Which is what we call neocolonialism. Neocolonialism is the next stage of colonialism. You see what I'm saying? To where they're doing this in kind of like a disguised way. They're using African black puppet leaders. They're using South Africans to do their dirty work so they can set up their industries on the continent of Africa to colonize the resources. This is what's going on in Africa today. This is what we call the recolonization of Africa. They're recolonizing Africa and its resources. And by them doing that, see, this is the whole thing I keep trying to tell people is that it makes no sense that in 2019, the majority of African nations that so-called got their independence in the 1960s and the 1950s, you have to understand, a lot of these countries have never been 100% released out of the clutches of the European colonizers that had them in colonization before they gained their independence. Just like Nigeria with the British connection, is that the British Empire still controls the economic market of Nigeria. You feel me? Chinese people that's invading Africa now, they're using sellout Negro puppet leaders and Negro puppet governments that were once under European control. They're using those governments to take their resources and control the industries in those countries. So now you have Chinese colonialism. Now you have the Chinese in Africa colonizing Africans. You feel me? Taking over their land, taking over their resources, and then hiring them for cheap labor, which is economic slavery labor. You see what I'm saying? It's cheap labor. So now this is where you get xenophobia from. They're fighting over what they have left, which is not much. You see what I'm saying? That's why you see South Africans killing other African immigrants in South Africa. The same thing is going on all across the globe, people. All across the world. I don't care where black people live. This is our reality. This is our historical material realm, material world, is that we're at the bottom. We're the laborers. We're not the producers. We're not the controllers of our industries and these resources. So we're being exploited to the point that we start to fight over what they're giving us, which is scraps. This is the effects of capitalism, imperialism, people. This is facts. Let me say this. All the horrific things you see on the African continent of blacks killing blacks, all the horrific violence you see blacks killing blacks in America, It's all over the same thing, which is European domination over people of color. So we're at the bottom of the ladder of classes. So we're fighting over the scraps that's being left over in the class war on each continent. This is fact. See, this is the thing. This is another thing I wanted to state is that, look here, brothers and sisters. We all have more in common than we think we don't have in common. What's the biggest thing that all black people across the planet have in common? We're being oppressed. We're struggling. We're being exploited for our labor, no matter where we live at. Just in the United States of America, we're being exploited by Europeans. But in Africa, it's more disguised, because now you got black governments, but those same black governments don't control the resources in Africa. It's European nations behind the scenes. Just like I said on my last live, the United States of America have over 85 military bases in Africa. Now ask yourself the question, why does the United States of America and other European countries like France, Britain, all these other European countries, why do they have so many military bases on the continent of Africa? That is to keep control of the resources and the industries on the continent of Africa. So this is why I always be trying to state, like, all my black people, even my Biafra people, is this, that you can't trust the United States of America, man. The United States of America, our brother, is a brother country of Britain. See, this is what people don't get. Britain and the United States of America are sister and brother countries. They are the English European powers. Britain, United States of America. They all came from this, because the United States of America came into existence out of British, the English British people. When the English British came to the United States of America, this is the people that brought Biafrans and all type of Africans from the continent to America as slaves. The British did that. The Spanish did that. The Dutch did that. All these European nations brought us over here, brought our ancestors over here. But the main country that came and took over this land in North America was the same people who conquered the land of Nigeria, the British. Out of the British comes the United States of America. This is something that you have to understand, black people in Africa. That America and Britain are the same people. They are the same Europeans. They are the same European powers. So just like the British are controlling the oppression in Nigeria, who you think is controlling the oppression on blacks in North America? Britain. Now, see how our struggle is the same? It's the same struggle. We're both being oppressed by the same oppressors. British, United States. Period. This is something you just have to understand that. I know a lot of people want to see the United States of America as their friend, but they're not the friends of black people. They're not the friends of other oppressed people in the world. Period. This is something you have to get in your reality. This is why political education is so important. Period. The British is causing all this oppression on black people. Period. They ran slavery. Just like the brother said. They ran slavery. So I want all my people in Africa, my Biafrans, to understand that the same people that's controlling the Nigeria government is the same people that's oppressing black people in America. British, Britain, the European colonizers. Period. So that's my whole point with this thing that's going on in South Africa is like, man, when y'all going to wake up and realize that you have to attack the oppressor, not the oppressed. You can't keep attacking the same people who are in the same position you are. You all are struggling. You see what I'm saying? We're all struggling. Because we're not rich. We're not rich people no matter where we live at on this globe. We're not rich people. So we're all being oppressed globally. Period. No matter where we at. So we need to start attacking the oppressors, not the oppressed. South Africans, you need to stop attacking Igbo people, Zimbabwean people, and every other African immigrant that came to South Africa. The only reason they come to South Africa is because they don't have nothing where they came from. They don't have no jobs where they came from. So why not embrace your brothers and sisters and bring them into South Africa and y'all build something together? Y'all build economic power together. You're going to have to build economic power together in order to get the European and the Chinese out of South Africa. Y'all should be fighting to get the Chinese and Europeans out of South Africa. Just like Julius Malema and their movement is doing today in South Africa. Trying to get those European farmers out of South Africa. Now you have to get the Chinese out of South Africa because they're doing nothing but what the Europeans have done to Africa for centuries is colonize y'all and turn y'all against each other. Proximity colonialism. That's all that is. Proximity colonialism, man. So this is why Africans, Pan-African movements, African movements have to get behind the people who have the power, the oppressed people who are truly fighting for liberation in Africa, which is Biafra, Amazonia, Sudan, and every other, Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe struggle is still going on. Even the struggle that's going on in the Congo still going on because they still trying to take all the resources in the Congo. So it's a liberation front still in the Congo. So all Africans and black people across the globe, we must get behind the thorough liberation movements of Africa. We must all unite. All independent movements, all freedom fighting, freedom loving African black people globally must get together and solve these problems together. And Biafra is one of those solutions. Period. Biafra is one of those solutions. Amazonia is one of those solutions. You feel me? Sudan is one of those solutions. Zimbabwe is still one of those solutions. Free Dr. Mutulu Shakur, who was heavily involved in the Zimbabwean struggle. So at the end of the day, all freedom-loving African black people globally, we must unite. Pan-Africanism. We have to unite, man. Because if not, we're just going to keep seeing these terroristic proximity colonial subject crimes like you have with xenophobia that's going on in South Africa right now, man. It's sad, man. I just seen a video online of this brother being set on fire. This Nigerian brother, Igbo brother being set on fire in South Africa. They murdered this Igbo sister the other day in South Africa with physical force. They physically murdered this sister the other day. They setting brothers and sisters on fire in South Africa. Some of the most dehumanizing examples of oppression, of oppressed people being desperate and just tyrannically murdering their own brothers and sisters, technically. Because when you kill another black brother and sister, you just technically killing yourself. You're just trying to kill yourself. You're killing yourself off. That's self-hate. Just like Julius Malema stated, self-hate is the #1 mechanism of imperialism and capitalism. Is self-hate amongst black people. Black people hating each other is the mechanism that's keeping us as an oppressed race of people. So I'm going to get off of here, man. I said I was going to get off, I was going to stay on here as long as I can. I thank everybody for tuning into this live. I'm going to touch on this subject a little bit more, maybe tomorrow, maybe later this week. But we're going to continue this discussion. And I'm definitely going to probably try to bring some of my Biafran people on, you know what I'm saying, to go live with me and give me the feedback on what they think on what's going on in South Africa and on the continent of Africa people. See, we must use our own communications. New African brothers and sisters in America, we must communicate with our brothers and sisters across the world. And even in Biafra land, Biafrica, we must communicate with each other and chop it up and have these dialogues and discussions so we can understand each other's struggles, each other's oppression, so we can come up with solutions to help each other. See, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to bring this thing together so we can help each other. Because if we don't help each other, the Europeans and the Chinese are going to continue to exploit African people, man. The British, the United States are going to continue to exploit African black people, man. Period. So I'm going to sign off on that note. Haki Shakur, man. Thank y'all for tuning in, man. One love to everybody, man. Stay safe. Blessings, man. This is a new month. I wish all beautiful blessings and vibrations to all y'all across the world. This is a new month. Let's get it cracking. Yagazie, Issei, let's get it cracking, man. I'm going to sign off on that note, man. Free the land by any means necessary. Free Biafra. Free New Africa.